Hello, in this video I will show you something a bit interesting, something a bit exciting perhaps. Now, we all know the template of Blazor contains a sort of a weather display forecast arrangement, right? It has that if you have Blazor server-side project template, which is what we have, and also the hosted Blazor thing with the API connected. It's kind of common, right? So in this case, we're taking the Blazor server side and we will improve the template. We will make it, I shouldn't even say realistic. We are actually making it real. We are making a real forecast because initially, if we look at the template, and if you don't know the template, if you don't know the Blazor itself, you should take a look at my course and get started with Blazor today. It's the technology of the future. So let's take a look. Now we have in the data, we have weather forecast service, right? We have weather forecast service right here. We have, and it's basically a randomizer. It returns some random weather forecasts, basically to simulate a proper forecast. But what I've done, I've implemented an API, a third-party API, which provides real forecasts. So we take this template and we improve it. We improve the template. Now, as you can see, it goes to the pages, to the fetch data page, and it gets displayed. Now, originally it's an array. I changed it to a list. It was easier to do that, less of a headache. And let's take a look at the project. Let's take a look at the project. And first of all, let's take a look at the API itself. I'll show you how it works. This one is actually free, unlike most of them. So this is the API. It's called weatherapi.com, weatherapi.com, and it is actually free. It does have some limitations. This is a free plan, 1 million calls per month, but it does actually allow you to get that data, because some services will only allow you to get the current weather data when in free mode. Some services will only allow to get the historical data in only a few days, but this one is truly free from what I've seen. But again, it's just an interesting thing to do. But if you need weather for some reason somewhere, this is the place to go. I do recommend it from what little knowledge I have about this particular product. I don't have too much, so I can't say for sure that it's good, but it seems to be working quite all right. Okay, so it does have a sort of a proper API documentation. You can test your course, you provide your API key and basically make a test call and you get your response body, right? Now, we will be retrieving a JSON and we will be turning that into our class model object, okay? And in those cases, you basically need to copy the example response and you need to find one of these tools online that will convert. It will convert the JSON to C# classes, and it will make your life a lot easier that way. Okay, so we have what we have right here. And let's get back to the Visual Studio. Let's take a look at what the code looks like. The code here is quite simple and quite primitive. We are in the weather forecast service. So I tried to keep it as original as possible because this is the interesting part of it all, right? We are improving, not replacing. And so we have the original task method, except for the return in this case is a list. It was easier to do that. It would be possible, obviously, to do an array, but it was just less of a headache. So I had to change that. Now, we're not using the start date time. We are, however, using HTTP client, and we are getting a response, right? A response get from JSON async. And we're using something root. Now, this is the name of the class that was generated. As I mentioned previously, you use a third-party tool to generate these classes from the example JSON response. And as you can see, there's quite a lot to generate. See, we have forecast, forecast day, and forecast day is that particular day of a forecast, basically. And we have a day itself, we have hours. You basically get whatever you want in terms of that weather forecast, okay? And we have lots and lots of different things here. So it really helps to generate this rather than rewrite it, because there's really no third-party library. If there is a third-party library, you usually get that object provided at some point somewhere. But if you just have to deal with these dynamic types, it's probably better to generate something like this and not deal with the dynamic types. Okay, so we have weatherapi.com, right, base address, and then we have this little query, right? We have the whole route, and then we have API key provided, and you provide the API key, and then this is basically your location. I just used London because wherever, right? And then we have days, so how many days of the forecast you want to receive. And then we have a list. We create a new list, and then we go for each. We loop through the forecast day, okay? We loop through the forecast day, and then we basically construct a new response object. Again, we're keeping everything as original, so we are only adding the data that the original had, the original provided, okay? Now, we will get into the front-end part of it, okay, the actual visual part of it a bit, but again, we just take the condition which is provided by the API, we take the temperature in Celsius because it gets converted to Fahrenheit in the model itself, and we take the date, time, and we pass it, and that's it, and we return. So now in the fetch data.razor, the sort of front-end part, not the service part, right? We have everything as original. Nothing was changed. Nothing was changed here except for this, the list, right? It used to be an array, now it is a list. And other than that, everything stays original. So if you want to learn Blazor, take a look at my course. There are some great discounts these days on the Confucius Solution Learning Platform. You also get to submit your assignments, not only to look at the solution, but on Confucius Solution Learning Platform, you also get to submit them for my review. Also take a look at the Stripe integration course in Blazor, that might be useful as well. It's an easier way to integrate payments. It's one of the better ways in my opinion. And also take a look at my API development course, very useful if you're using client-side Blazor, not server-side Blazor. Also subscribe to this channel and support this channel on Patreon.